The pregnant woman's eyes went wide with alarm, filled with confusion and fear, as the German shepherd, Rex, refused to stop barking. He wasn't just barking randomly, it was sharp, persistent, and intense, aimed right at her. She instinctively took a nervous step backward, her hand immediately flying to cradle her swollen belly protectively. "Please, please, make him stop," she pleaded, her voice cracking as she glanced around, searching for help with a look of desperation that couldn't be ignored. But Rex? He wasn't budging, not for a second. He let out a low, warning growl, his entire body tensed like a loaded spring. His eyes were locked onto her with a strange focus, almost like he saw something beneath the surface, something hidden, something dangerous. Mark, the handler, exchanged a quick, uneasy glance with the other officers nearby. He trusted Rex, always had. That dog didn't act on a whim. He was trained, intensely trained, to detect threats. Drugs. Weapons. Explosives. But this was something different. Something off. Could she be smuggling something inside? Could she actually be a threat? The thought sent a chill down his spine. A tall officer with a rigid stance and a no-nonsense demeanor stepped forward, his voice firm but calm. "Ma'am, we're going to need to ask you a few questions." The color drained from the woman's face instantly. "I don't understand. I didn't do anything wrong," she stammered, her voice trembling as her panic started to rise. Her eyes darted, lips quivering. Around them, the crowd had started murmuring, passengers whispering to each other, their curiosity now turning to worry. Some stared in suspicion, others with growing concern. The air felt heavy. Mark stood frozen for a heartbeat. Was this some bizarre misunderstanding? Or was Rex, once again, seeing what no one else could? Deep down, he knew the answer. He always trusted Rex's instincts. They'd saved lives before. "We need to take her in for further screening," Mark said finally, his voice firm, the decision made. Whatever was going on, they needed to figure it out. Fast. Two officers, gentle but unwavering, flanked the pregnant woman. She resisted at first, her body stiff, breaths rapid and shallow. Her trembling hands remained protectively on her belly. "Please," she whispered, barely audible. "I don't know what's happening." Mark walked close behind, Rex at his side, still tense, still fixated. His growling had subsided, but now he was pacing, body coiled, tail stiff, eyes tracking her every move. Mark had never seen his canine partner so relentless, so locked in. Inside the private screening room, officers got to work. One methodically began checking her personal belongings. Another prepared the body scanner. A female officer, trying to ease the tension, softened her voice as she asked, "Ma'am, do you have any medical conditions we should be aware of?" The woman, clearly shaken, shook her head. "No, I'm 7 months pregnant. That's all," she said, but her voice was thin and shaky. It sounded more like a question than an answer. Meanwhile, outside the room, Rex was growing more agitated by the second, whining, pacing, scratching at the door like something inside was pulling at him. Mark frowned. This wasn't just unusual, it was downright alarming. Then it happened. A sharp gasp cut through the room. The woman's eyes widened, and she grabbed her stomach with both hands. "Something's wrong," she whispered, her voice brittle, face contorting in pain. Sweat broke across her forehead. Her breathing turned ragged. The officers froze. Mark didn't hesitate. "Get medical assistance. Now," he barked, already moving toward her. The woman's legs gave out beneath her. She collapsed into a chair, trembling, her panic now joined by something else, raw, unfiltered fear. Rex's scratching became frantic. His whines turned desperate. Mark's stomach twisted. Whatever was happening, it was serious. "Is she going into labor?" one officer murmured, uncertain, frozen halfway through a search. "No. No, it's too early," she cried out, another wave of pain overtaking her. Her face contorted, tears filling her eyes. "Please help me. Please." A team of paramedics burst through the doors, pushing past the security detail. The lead medic dropped to one knee beside her, steady and composed. Ma'am, look at me. You're going to be okay. We need to get you to the hospital. Immediately. Mark's heart was pounding. His instincts as a handler were being overridden by something more human, concern for her and for the unborn child. This wasn't about protocol anymore. This was about survival. As the medics worked fast, checking her vitals and preparing a stretcher, one of them frowned. Her pulse is erratic, he said. We need to move, now. Just as they were getting her onto the stretcher, Rex suddenly surged forward, sniffing the air with renewed urgency. His ears flattened against his head, a deep growl rising from his chest again. Mark's breath caught. Something was still off. Wait, one of the paramedics said, holding up a hand. He gently pressed against the woman's stomach, feeling for movement. A few seconds passed, and then his face went still. This isn't just labor. Something else is happening here. The woman whimpered, her face ghostly pale. I don't know what's wrong. Please just help my baby, she begged, breaking into sobs. Mark felt his throat tighten. Rex had known. From the beginning, he had sensed something wasn't right. But what had he actually detected? Then came the answer. One of the medics turned to Mark, his face grave. There's an internal rupture. If we don't get her into surgery right now, neither she nor the baby will survive. Mark's blood ran ice cold. Rex hadn't been warning them of danger. He had been trying to save them. The airport, once still and tense, exploded into controlled chaos. Paramedics rushed the woman toward the ambulance, shouting instructions as they moved. Mark and Rex followed closely, weaving through crowds of stunned travelers frozen in place. Her breathing was ragged now, eyes fluttering, her consciousness slipping. Stay with us, one paramedic urged, clutching her hand. We're almost there. Rex, usually the definition of discipline, whined low and constant, never taking his eyes off her. He understood. Somehow he understood. Mark felt a lump rise in his throat. If it weren't for Rex, if they had just dismissed the barking, they wouldn't have caught it in time. As they lifted her into the ambulance, the woman turned her head weakly, her lips trembling. Her eyes locked with Rex's. Thank you, she whispered. Rex gave a soft, low sound, less a growl, more a gentle rumble of acknowledgement, as the ambulance doors slammed shut. A soft, comforting whimper escaped from Rex as he stood there, his body still coiled tight with anticipation, like he hadn't fully let go of the tension. His eyes were fixed on the ambulance, ears twitching with every sharp sound around them. Mark leaned down, giving his loyal partner a gentle pat on the side. You did good, buddy, real good, he whispered, his voice low with emotion. And then, slam. The ambulance doors closed with a loud finality, and within seconds, it took off. Sirens screamed through the air, echoing down the road as the flashing lights vanished into the distance. Mark stood frozen, staring after it until it disappeared completely. But even as it vanished, one thought looped endlessly in his mind, a question that refused to let him rest. Would she and her baby make it in time? Hours passed. Long, slow, and torturous hours. Each minute stretched on like an eternity. Mark waited outside the hospital, pacing at times, sitting at others, always with Rex right there beside him, his ever-faithful companion. The German shepherd, though calmer now, remained alert. His ears flicked toward every noise, every door opening, every ambulance pulling in. Mark absent-mindedly ran his fingers through Rex's thick fur, drawing comfort from the silent bond they shared. Rex, too, was waiting. He could feel it, that same anxious energy radiating off his handler. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the emotion. The weight in the air. The urgency. He was hoping for good news, just like Mark. Finally, the hospital doors pushed open. A man in a white coat, one of the doctors, walked out, his expression unreadable at first. Mark stood up immediately, his breath catching in his chest. His stomach knotted. Please, please. The doctor stopped in front of them. Then, after a heavy pause, his lips curved into a small but unmistakable smile. She made it, he said softly. Both the mother and the baby are stable. Mark exhaled so hard it was as if he hadn't breathed in hours. His chest finally loosened, a wave of relief crashing over him. "Thank God," he muttered, his voice shaky. He looked down at Rex, who was watching the doctor closely, tail starting to wag just slightly, as if he too understood what those words meant. The doctor's smile faded slightly as he continued. "There was an internal rupture," he explained, his voice lowering with seriousness. It had gone completely undetected. If she hadn't received medical help exactly when she did, neither she nor the baby would have survived the hour. He paused, eyes lingering on Rex with a look of awe. "I honestly don't know how your dog knew something was wrong. But he did. And he saved her life." Mark looked at his partner with renewed pride, eyes glistening. Rex had always been a hero in his eyes, but today, he had become someone's literal guardian angel. Just then, a nurse walked over quietly, holding out a small folded note. "This is from the mother," she said gently, handing it to Mark. He unfolded it slowly, unsure what to expect. But the moment his eyes fell on the words, his throat clenched. The handwriting was a little shaky, but the message was clear. Just 7 words, but they carried the weight of 1,000. "Tell the dog he's my angel." Mark's chest tightened as he read it again, and then again. Rex tilted his head, sensing something important had just been said. Mark smiled and bent down, hugging his furry partner around the neck. "She says you're her angel, buddy," he whispered, voice thick with emotion. "And you are." If this story moved you even half as much as it moved us, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hey, turn on that notification bell so you never miss another unforgettable story like this one. Stay tuned for more heartwarming, emotional, and truly unbelievable tales that remind us all, sometimes, the heroes wear fur.